Application forms for sharing accommodations must be completed 2 months in advance.
Microphone check, microphone check. Hello, my name is Pramod. I'm giving this test for my practice and I'm very happy to give this test today. Thank you. The whole idea of a personal propaganda campaign, propaganda. The blame for overconsumption should not and cannot be placed solely on individuals. Companies and corporations have a vested interest in making you buy more stuff because if they don't, they go bankrupt. This is why they slap green labels onto their products and advertise everywhere. Indeed, the whole idea of a personal carbon footprint is a propaganda campaign created by a fossil fuel giant. The Internet has grown in importance by many folds over the process of decade. Its importance in the education world can never be undermined. Despite the chances of fraud and drawbacks, the use of Internet is like a blessing for students. Today, the Internet is something that is present in almost everything we use. On a planet with growing population and shrinking natural resources, business as usual is no longer sustainable, but sustainability is very often good for the bottom line, as it's in the best interest of business to responsibly manage our natural resources so we can continue to use them for years to come. On a planet with a growing population and shrinking natural resources, business as usual is no longer sustainable, but sustainability is very often good for the bottom line, as it's in the best interest of businesses to responsibly manage our natural resources so we can continue to use them for years to come. Over the years, various internet services have been created to communicate remotely. Social networks have been a revolution, as have instant messaging apps. Since the beginning, there is also a timeless communication standard, representing one of the best tools for individuals and companies to communicate quickly: email. The geosphere includes all the stuff that makes up the crust and the core of the earth, and everything natural and life sites that makes up the surface of the earth. Examples are all the rocks and sand particles from dry land to those found at the bottom of the oceans. The geosphere undergoes infinite processes constantly, which in turn modifies other spheres. Astronomers announced that they have finally assembled an image of the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy. This image shows a bright ring surrounding the darkness, the telltale sign of the shadow of the black hole. It reveals the turbulent, twisting region immediately surrounding the black hole in new detail. Dark matter is an elusive substance that provides the skeleton for what cosmologists call the cosmic wave, the large-scale structure of the universe that, due to its gravitational influence, dictates the motion of galaxies and other cosmic material. However, the distribution of local dark matter is currently unknown because it cannot be measured directly.
You need to complete the application form before next Friday.
You need to complete the application form before next Friday. You need to complete the application form before next Friday. You need to complete the application form before next Friday.
Most of the students prefer to live outside of the campus.
Most of the students prefer to live outside of the campus.
You need to work harder to achieve your professional goals.
You need to work harder to achieve your professional goal.
There have been many complaints from members of the public.
There have been many complaints from the member of the public.
This meeting has been hosted by a motivational speaker.
This meeting has been hosted by the motivational speaker.
We will feed the new information back to the company.
We will feed new information back to the company.
Even my friends often confuse me and my twin sister.
Even my friends confuse me in my twin sisters.
Our university has set a minimum English language proficiency level.
Our university has set a minimum English language proficiency level.
He was a mediocre scholar who loved poetry, science, and travel books.
He was a mediocre scholar who poetry, economic. Thank you very much. I am very happy to give this test.
A liberal arts curriculum can be very broad and diverse.
Our curriculum can be very broad and diverse. Thank you very much.
The worker had absented himself from the office for the day.
The worker have absent for himself for the office of the day. The picture gives information about the average cost of running a coffee shop. Average cost of running a coffee shop. The picture is very beautiful, and I have given 40 seconds to speak about this image. I can see labor and admin. I can see labor, admin, and food. I can see labor and admin. I can see food and supply. I can see. The picture gives information about the average cost of running a coffee shop. The picture is very beautiful, and I have given 40 seconds to speak about this image. I can see labor and music. I can see admin and lease. I can see food and supply. I can see 10 to 12%. I can see marketing. I can see 5 to 8%. Some elements are maximum and others are minimum. To conclude, the picture is very informative. The picture gives information about UK house prices. UK house prices. I can see fastest rate. I can see August 2007. I can see 12 month. I can see August 2007, and I can see 12 month and 12 month. I can see 15% and 10%. I can see. The picture gives information about UK house prices. I can see August 2007 and 12 month percentage. I can see 5% and 10%. I can see 10.2%. I can see 2015 and 2018. I can see 2006 and 2009. Some elements are maximum and others are minimum. To conclude, the picture is very informative. The picture gives information about the total UK forest carbon. The picture is very beautiful, and I have given 40 seconds to speak about this image. I can see 1 billion tons. I can see carbon stored in leaves. I can see branches and trunk. I can see 5% and 17%. I can see less than 1%. The picture gives information about total UK forest carbon. I can see 1 billion tons and 17%. I can see carbon stored in leaves. I can see branches and trunk. I can see surface litter. I can see carbon stored in dead wood. I can see less than 1%. Some elements are maximum and others are minimum. To conclude, the picture is very informative.
Well, according to the American Psychiatric Association, addiction is a complex condition of the brain where a person has compulsive substance use despite there being harmful consequences. People with addiction tend to have an intense focus on what they're addicted to the point where it takes over their life. What makes it so hard to break an addiction is that it can change the way your brain is wired, giving you harsh cravings that make it difficult to stop. Studies of brain imaging have even shown changes in the areas of the brain that relate to judgment, decision-making, learning, memory, and behavior control. So is this what's happening with Facebook and social media? It's hard to say for sure. That being said, we are starting to give more credit to an addiction that might be pretty similar: video games. That's because the American Psychiatric Association includes internet gaming disorders as disorders that require further research, but that can result in clinically significant impairment or distress. The World Health Organization has also added gaming disorders to their international classification of diseases, which is used by medical practitioners around the world to diagnose conditions. Now, online video games are obviously not the same as sites like Facebook, yet they do have similar social aspects. It's possible that in the future, we'll see health organizations also classify social media as a type of an addiction or disorder. Still, sites like Facebook do have quite a few qualities that make you want to come back to them. Through constant feeds that go on forever and giving you push notifications on your phone, social media sites try their best to keep you on their app or website. And if you leave, they want you to come back as quickly as possible. Google and Facebook further their reach by also being commonly used to sign in to other sites. Social media sites always seem to have a significant impact on how you feel, furthering your connection to them.
Social media was the main topic of the lecture. He told about addiction, brain, harmful and focus. He told about point, life, wired and craving. He told about learning, video games and internet. He also told about disorder and social impacts. He also told about future disorder, notifications, website and Google. He also told about connection. To conclude, the lecture was very informative.
What does the word VIP stand for?
Very important person.
Which branch of sciences mainly studies heat, gravity, electricity, sound, etc.?
Physics. Physics.
Would it be better to go jogging at noon or in the early morning if you want to avoid the hottest part of the day?
Early morning. Early morning. Early morning.
What do we call the period in winter when some animals like snakes take a deep sleep?
Hibernation. Hibernation.
What do we call a person that has won the first prize in a competition?
Winner. 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 Champion. Champion.
How do we call the animals that are kept on farms or as pets?
Livestock. Livestock. Domestic animal.
Information is an important part of our society. People depend on it to guide them through a complex world.
The invention of movable type in 15th century Europe revolutionized the communication of ideas. This invention made it possible to print and publish information to masses of people.
This free flow of information eventually led to a free press in many parts of the world. But because information is so powerful, many world leaders have tried to stop it.
French leader Napoleon Bonaparte once said he feared 4 newspapers more than 1,000 bayonets. The Chinese emperor who oversaw the building of the Great Wall famously used his power to stop published information. Qin Shi Huang ordered the burning of thousands of books on subjects he wanted to keep from the people. He even had hundreds of scholars executed for refusing to give up their book collections. But when true information is allowed to reach the people, good results can follow. Information has fueled successful revolutions in many nations. Government atrocities have been identified, and world leaders have been forced to be held accountable for their actions. Advances in media technology have made words and images more powerful and widespread than ever. Smartphones and social media have become quick and easy tools to receive and share news and information. These tools have even made it possible for anyone with a device to gather and publish news.
All domestic dogs belong to a single species that descended from wolves, despite vast differences in size, appearance, behavior, and temperament among breeds. While dogs first became domesticated tens of thousands of years ago, the breeds we know today are largely the result of selection for certain traits by humans over the past several hundred years.
We have an enormous amount of diversity within the same species, and we can rarely observe such diversity in nature. So it's a wonderful system to understand how evolution works within a short period of time.
Evolutionary biologist Laszlo Garamszegi of the Institute of Ecology and Botany in Hungary. He says that our playing with dogs is a key component of the human-canine bond.
A waterproof drone is being used by Australian scientists to collect the highly treasured nasal mucus of migrating whales. The snot is rich with fresh DNA, viruses, and bacteria, and it's collected by a drone that hovers over the blow whales of humpback whales as they embark on their epic annual journey along the Australian east coast. From Sydney, Phil Mercer reports.
Whales, like all mammals, need air and come to the surface to breathe through a blowhole. Vanessa Perotta, a marine biologist at Macquarie University, says that nasal mucus indicates the health of the whale.
The Democratic Republic of the Congo will hold an election in December, hopefully leading to a peaceful democratic transfer of power for the first time in the country's history. Sitting President Joseph Kabila came to power in 2001, having succeeded his father, Laurent Désiré Kabila, after his assassination. Joseph Kabila was elected president in 2006 for a 5-year term and re-elected in 2011. Though his second term ended in 2016 and the DRC constitution prevents him from seeking a third term, elections were not held and Kabila remained in power.
When at table, he was totally absorbed in the business of the moment. His looks seemed riveted to his plate, nor would he, unless when in very high company, say one word, or even pay the least attention to what was said by others, till he had satisfied his appetite, which was so fierce, and indulged with such intenseness, that while in the act of eating the veins of his forehead swelled, and generally a strong perspiration was visible. To those whose sensations were delicate, this could not but be disgusting, and it was doubtless not very suitable to the character of a philosopher, who should be distinguished by self-command. But it must be owned that Johnson, though he could be rigidly abstemious, was not a temperate man either in eating or drinking. He could refrain, but he could not use moderately. He told me that he had fasted 2 days without inconvenience, and that he had never been hungry.
Always try to best understand your partner's specific communication styles. A lot of times we'll take it personally if we notice someone's avoiding us or they're communicating with us less frequently than we'd like. And this doesn't mean that they don't care about you, they don't respect you. This is likely how they were modeled communication as a child. Your partner's communication style typically comes from how their caregivers communicated with each other. You should feel comfortable asking your partner, how do you best handle conflict? Also, some people struggle with verbal communication. So if that's the case, you may want to ask your partner to write down what they're feeling. And this way they won't feel so overwhelmed. Finally, know that communication requires compromise. So if you have a completely different communication style from your partner, know that it's going to be a work in progress until you figure out how you're both best going to communicate.
The wealthy world is aging fast. In 1950, around 1 in every 12 people in high-income countries was over 65. By 2050, it's expected to be more like 1 in 4. And it's storing up a big problem.
It is a feat that we can live longer and that we can enjoy being alive for longer, but it's expensive.
When people retire, they start to cost society more money, and the costs will soon be unsustainable.
Biology is considered one of the natural sciences. It is the science of life and life's processes. And like life, science is better understood by observing it than by trying to create a precise definition. Over the next 15 weeks, we will be observing the science of biology. In many ways, biology is the most demanding of all sciences. This is partly because living systems are so complex. Biology is also a multidisciplinary science. It requires knowledge of chemistry, physics, and mathematics. And of all the sciences, biology is the most linked to the social sciences and
This year, we're planning to use a different type of assessment on this module. In the past, students were required to complete 2 long written assignments and also to do a presentation on a subject of their own choice. We've decided to ask you to write 4 shorter pieces of written coursework this year. We're also going to be more prescriptive about what you focus on in your presentation. This is because previously many students lost marks unnecessarily simply because one of the most encouraging phenomena in recent years has been the growth of lifelong learning in the education sector. Nowadays, students are embarking on courses at all ages. Higher education is no longer seen as a place for the young. Mature students are appreciated and valued. Recent research has also indicated that older students are enthusiastic learners, able to contribute a number of skills and attributes gained from work, family, and other life experiences.
Hillary is undecided. Obama and McCain both passed, but the scientific community is committed to staging a candidates' debate about science and technology. They want straight talk on political buzzwords like climate change and stem cells, as well as less discussed issues like funding for basic research and the National Institutes of Health. What started as citizens worried about the U.S. losing its edge is now a movement called Science Debate 2008. An article in the current issue of the journal Science claims that by 2010, 90% of the world's scientists and engineers will live in Asia, where research is well funded. The authors say the U.S. needs to keep up because science and engineering drove half of America's economic growth over the last 50 years. Science Debate 2008 had to cancel a debate before the upcoming Pennsylvania primaries because candidates wouldn't commit. Now plans are already in the works for Oregon, where primaries are set for May 20th. It's proof, the journal article says, that scientists can be quickly organized when motivated, if only politicians shared that motivation.
They call it culturomics. The obvious play on the word genomics looks at trends in human thought and culture. But scientists say culturomics has been hampered by a lack of quantitative data. So researchers at Harvard, along with Google, Encyclopedia Britannica, and the American Heritage Dictionary, have come up with a new tool. It's a database of 5.2 million books published since the year 1500. That's 4% of all the books ever published, with a total of 500 billion words. The focus is on English language culture, so 3/4 of the books are in English. Among the first findings of the research published in the journal Science, about 8,500 new words enter the English language annually, but many of them don't end up in dictionaries. And about fame, actors become famous around age 30, writers around 40, and politicians around 50. But the fame of politicians can eventually exceed that of actors. A Google tool called the Books Ngram Viewer is available based on this data. Users can track the usage and frequency of a word or phrase over the past few centuries. Thus, we can watch the fall and rise of Melville, and soon the rise and fall of Snooki.
You will be able to work with different kinds of people. We have applied special devices in the study of local history. Many companies care about their public image, whatever their size. A computer screen shows arrival and departure times of the trains.